everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kaz from Graphics by Kaz. Today we're going to be creating a custom overlay from the assets you can download in my Etsy store. These are the pink neon effects that you can download in the pink neon streamer pack that I have in my Etsy store right now. I've done another tutorial on how to use the pre-made overlays, and you can find that video. I'll put a card up here. These are a lot more customized than the pre-made layouts, because with the pre-made layout you have to stick with what I've built you basically. However, this is a much more detailed way of setting up your own customized version of that overlay. This does take a lot more time because obviously you have to resize and set up every element in your overlay how you like it, rather than just using sort of the pre-made set ones. However, you do get a lot more customization with this method. So today we're just going to be doing this pretty quickly because it's very simple to do once you know the basic concept. So we're going to be adding a source, so click on the little plus here, and all of these that we're adding are going to be media sources. So I'm going to click on media source, then add source. Depending on what you're going to add, you would want to rename this specifically for the asset you're going to add. So let's call this camera overlay, and it's good to keep up a good naming convention, especially if you're doing something a lot more detailed than the preset ones. With the preset ones, it's very easy to keep it all default. With this customized way, you want to keep a track of your layer names just to make sure that you don't lose track of them. I'm going to click on loop here. You've got to click loop on everything, otherwise it will not work. And let's look at our different things that we have in our pack. So let's see, we want to add a camera, so I'm going to go down to webcam, and then I'm going to import the webcam effect. So we've already clicked loop, so that's good, and then we're clicking done. So this has come in at full size. All of the assets individually are 1080p, and then the idea is now you have this on the page, you can resize it and layer it in the way that you want. So say that we want a webcam down here, we'll put that there, and then that will be our webcam. I'll make it a bit bigger actually, maybe about that size. And you can drag it off the screen, you can drag it down to the edges, anything you want, you know, it's completely up to you. You could even apply some filters on top of it to change the colors. I'll do an example of that now. You can click grayscale and go for a bit white or half. I think that makes it a little bit more glowy. That makes it a bit more pastel-y. There's lots of different ways to sort of like change this. Some of them don't look so good, obviously. I'm just going to go back to none. But that's another fun way of customizing this yet again with your own style, is to add filters to it. Now we have the camera here. We're going to add a game screen. So I will add a media source again, and then I will click on add a new source. It's going to ask us if we want to re-import the same media source, but we don't. We want a new one. We're going to be calling this game overlay. So then I'm going to click add source again. Once again, we're going to click on loop and then on browse. Then we're going to find our game frame, which is in here. So open that up. It's very similar to the camera overlay, but the edging is a little bit thicker and there's a different flicker effect on there. So they're all slightly different, although some of them look quite similar. Again, it's very big. We can keep it this size if we want. Actually, yeah, let's keep it this size. Let's just push it to the top there. And then let's drag this behind the camera overlay. So we got our camera in front. There we go. What else could we do here? We could add a chat. We could add some labels. Maybe let's add some stream labels. So again, we're going to add another media source. And when I said we're going to be adding stream labels, we are just going to be adding the overlay for the labels. So label 1, overlay. We will actually get onto adding those labels in a bit. So we're clicking on loop once again, and then we are going into labels. And then we have medium or large. Let's go for large. Again, it's come in huge. So you grab the handles, you size it down. You size it down to whatever size you want. So because we have this label here, and potentially we would like two labels of the same size, you can actually press Control Copy and then Control and Paste, and then you will have one exactly the same size that you just renamed it to, resized it to even, and then we're going to drag that right there. So these do feed off of the same source, but that is fine because we'd only be importing the same source twice anyway. So this is fine. We will now add our game windows, our game capture, and our webcam. So let's put in display capture. This is my screen that I'm capturing right now. I'm going to click done, and then we will drag this so it's kind of the same size as the box here that we're going to be viewing it in. Now, as you can see, there's sort of hard edges. It's very strange. It looks a bit floaty over the top. So what we have to do is then grab this and drag it down below the game overlay, which at the moment is right at the very bottom. So there we go. Now we have our nice curved edges on the screen, and it actually looks like how it's meant to look. So now we will add a video capture, which is my camera. Add a source. Hide notifications. I said in my other video that this webcam comes in square for some reason. I don't know why it does that. But to get around that, I just click on custom, and then the aspect ratio resets. So now that it is a rectangle again. I have no idea why it does that. It's very strange. So again, we will make sure that this is sort of the same size as the box that we want to view it in. There we go. And then we will drag that to the bottom so the overlays behind it. I kind of like this effect because it's sort of coming in down here, like into my webcam. But I don't know if that looks a bit strange actually. So I'm going to grab it and pull it above the game overlay. So now we have the game capture, the game overlay that sits over that game capture, the video camera, and then the overlay of that camera, which sits on top of that. If you're used to Photoshop and you're used to working in layers, this will be very native to you. But if this is the first thing that you've used that includes layers, I like to think of it as sort of like transparent sheets, and you're layering more transparent sheets on top of more transparent sheets. So yes, it's kind of difficult to wrap your head around, but you basically got to make sure you know where your layers are, and if you want something in the foreground, you put it higher, and if you want something in the background, you put it lower. That is basically all there is to it. So we have our game, we have our webcam. We can now add a stream label, which are at the bottom here. I'm just going to call this stream label. We've got all-time top donator. I'm going to add that in here, and it comes out at the top very large. I'm going to drag it inside this box. I'm going to drag it below the stream labels so it looks like it's in line with the stream labels, and the glow comes over the top of it rather than the text sitting on top of the glow. You see what I mean about the layers? If you want the glow to be the first thing, the topmost layer, it has to go above the text. To resize this, because obviously this is spilling out, we're going to press and hold Alt, and grab this little handle here. And then as you drag it across, it will crop that out. You might not like this effect. You might just want to have a name instead of this label that I've added in here, the sort of top label. But what I'm going to do now is actually make that scroll so you can see the whole name. So the way I'm going to do that is right click on the stream label. I am going to go to filters like we did before, but now I'm going to click on the plus and add in a scroll. By default it calls it scroll. That's great, that's what we want. I'm going to click done. And now you can use the horizontal speed to sort of zoom this along. And in my last video I did a slow one, so we're going to do a fast one. This is probably too fast for your viewers because that's crazy and that's too fast and no one could read it, but it's fun, so we'll keep it there. If we wanted to add another stream label, we could put it in here. If we wanted to add in, say, a chat, we could put it over here. In fact, let's do that now. This isn't going to look like the best overlay, by the way, but it's just an example, you know. Probably a trick I will show you here is actually you can group some of these layers together so that they are stuck together and bound, and they will not drift away from each other if you accidentally happen to drag one. So how I'm going to do that is hold Shift and select both of these two layers at the same time. So now we have the overlay, which is the neon box, and then we have the stream label itself inside that box going really fast. So what we're going to do is in the layers panel, right click and then choose group and then group into folder. And then you can label this, so we can call this label 1, submit, and now label 1 is its own group. And now if I drag this around, they will both drag together rather than them dragging separately. So I find that this is really handy to be able to know how to do this, because you can group it many times. It's just what works for you. Some people don't group them at all, and that's totally fine as well. It's whatever works for you. So now I'm going to grab our game and our game capture, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to hold down shift and click on these two and then group them, and then I'm going to call this game, and then I'm going to do the same with the my webcam and the overlay, group into folder, call it cam. So now we have 3 groups, one for the camera, one for the game, and one for the label. And then this label sits on its own because I haven't done anything with that one yet. But this is where this comes into its own, because now I can grab this game layer and everything will move together as one. And I'm just going to move it across there and sit it just there. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I want to add a chat box over here. So again, we're going to click on the plus, we're going to click on media source, and we're going to click add source, add a new source, call it chat, add to source, click on loop, click on browse, and then we're going to find our chats. These are all the same size, but they are all different dimensions within that size, if that makes sense. So you have a really small skinny one, you have a large thick one. They are both the same size in pixels, but you can drag them in different ways, and it will look better if you use the big one rather than using a little one and stretching it out. There's a big one already pre-made, so we will use one of the big ones now, I think. Should we go for a large or an extra large? Maybe an extra large. Why not? So we've got an extra large. That looks like a good size. I'm going to click done. And now we can just move this across here. So with this, you can, if you want, stretch it down. So grab the bottom handle and stretch it down, and that will make the whole thing bigger because you have locked the aspect ratio. What you can also do is click on shift as you grab this handle, and it will, you can make it as long as you want, but it won't change the width of it. It will only change the height. So this can be quite good if you want to do smaller adjustments, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it because you can, say if we get this label here, as an example, let me grab this label that I haven't done anything with and grab it to the top. I'm going to press shift and hold this top handle here, and then we're going to grab it up, and you see how that sort of breaks and looks a bit strange. If you want this effect, absolutely go for it, but it kind of does look a bit distorted, and if you like that distorted effect, that works really well for your stream. However, it's not the effect that we're going for here, so we're going to put it back to normal. You can also lock these layers in place, so if I lock that, that's not going anywhere, I can't move it. However, I can move other things that I haven't locked. So what I want to do is actually lock down these folders so that I can't accidentally move those around. So now I can't grab this one and I can't grab this one, but I can move this one because I haven't locked it. So now we can add a chat. I want to get this in line a bit more. You see how it's like slightly out. So I'm going to use the arrows on my keyboard and just nudge it up. You see how that looks more in line now. I can also nudge it out so it's a little bit further away from my game screen. And that precision is very, very useful when you just want to make those really small detail changes that people might not even care or see them. But being a designer for many years, I can see it when something's a pixel off, and it really bugs me. So I'm like, I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna move that. Okay, so now we want to add a chat box to sit inside the overlay chat box. So I'm going to click on plus. I am going to find my chat box, which is over here, and click add source. Just going to call it chat box. Makes sense to me. And then we have a chat box added to the screen here. What we need to do now is make it so it fits inside here, but I do this via only using the width and height. I don't go in and change it with any of the handles. Reason being because the text can get distorted very quickly, and then it's impossible to read. So it's not the best. So I generally use these property settings up here. So and it's quite difficult to do. It's more, I wouldn't say difficult, it's just annoying. It's more of an eyeballing task. So if this is 600 now, it's probably shorter than that. So we're going to say, how much is 500? 500 still a bit too wide. What about 460? Yeah, that seems like it's going to fit. So I can actually come out of that window and then just like reposition it there. So if I reposition it right in the middle there, and then I can go back into here, and then so 600, it probably needs a little bit more. So what about 700? It fits the bottom now, but it's still a little bit more needed at the top. Let's try 740. Let's go back in here and reposition. There we go. That fits almost perfectly. Almost. But it's a tutorial. But it's a tutorial. I'm not going to nitpick on this. I will just let that go. Once you're done making it the right size, click on done. And then also what I want to do, because the chat box is above the overlay, I will grab that chat box and drag it below the overlay. A great way of checking to see whether your chat box looks like how you want it and displays how you want it is to use your own chat in your channel to test how it will look. And I'll show you how to do that now. So here we are on twitch.tv. I'm on my test channel at the moment. I don't really use it for anything other than testing out graphics. So I'm going to click on the chat here, and then it opens the chat window. So you can talk and chat on your own channel, and well, no one's going to see it because no one's here. But it is great for testing purposes, because I can write a whole bunch of messages and I'll be able to see what this looks like to my viewers, especially in my stream. So I've written a whole bunch of messages here. We're going to go back into Streamlabs, and there we go. That is how it will look to my viewers. So you can see it's coming through the neon a bit. If you want that glow to be a little bit less intense, you can always grab the chat box and then sort of nudge it so it comes away from that glow. And obviously if you want to do that and to make it look proper, you'd probably have to bring it in by a little bit more pixels at the top and pixels down the side, so it fits perfectly within that. But again, it's up to you. It's how much glow you want. This is a pretty glowy layout, so there's going to be glow. The last thing to talk to you about is alert boxes. So I'm going to click the plus and click alert box and add source, and then add source as name alert box. And everything here I'm just going to leave exactly as it is. You can dig into these settings and change all sorts of things about how your alerts display. However, there is a bug at the moment, which is very annoying and irritating, and Streamlabs haven't fixed it yet. So whenever you try to load new graphics into this widget, this window, it doesn't allow you to do that. It just spins forever and maxes out your CPU, which is very irritating. So I'm going to show you the workaround and how you do this online. So to finish up here, we have the pop-up. I haven't changed anything about it, and I'm going to click done. And now we have the alert box. I'm just going to center it in the middle of the screen there, and that's where my alerts will display. So the workaround, you have to use the web version in order for it to work. So I'm here on streamlabs.com /dashboard. Just go to streamlabs.com and log in, and you'll be brought to this page. Click on alert box on the left hand side here. It will take you to the alerts panel, but the web version of it. So we're going to scroll down here. This is where you do all your different changes to your alerts, and the best way to show you how to change one of them is to dig into one of these different kind of types of alerts. So I'm going to go into follow. It loads up the follow section. I want it so the image appears above the text. So this one's selected like it already is. I'm going to click X to remove this on the image, and then I'm going to click on this little box here in order to upload an image. Now you'll be taken to this pop-up where you've got lots of different selection here. You can choose any of these GIFs to go into your alerts. However, we're going to upload our own custom ones. So we're going to click on uploads here, and then you can either from your Finder or File Explorer just drag those across into your uploads onto this little banner here, or you can just click on this little banner and you get a File Explorer here to upload your image. So we're going to click on the new follow, and these are all WebM files, by the way, so they will upload. And sometimes, depending on your connection, it might take a little while. They normally appear here as the first one in your list as a WebM file. You click on it, and then this little tick will appear, and that means you have selected that. Then click on the little select button down here. And then go right to the bottom, scroll to the bottom and click on Save Settings. So now that should be saved. You get a toast up here saying Alert Box Updated. Let's go back into Streamlab. So if you want to test your alerts, you go down in slobs to the bottom right. It's where it says Test Widgets down here. You click on Test Widgets, and then because we uploaded the follow, we're going to click on Follow. And there it is. Works amazingly. Perfect. So that is basically all there is to it, guys. Oh, the only other thing that's worth mentioning is the alert box should be right on top of the layers. It should be the first in the layer list. It has to be the top of the stack. Because it's not, then those alerts will appear below the overlay, and you just won't be able to see the alert very well. So I highly recommend putting the alert box right to the top of your layers, above all the other overlays. And that's kind of it, guys. I hope that this has been helpful and has explained stuff to you. I know that this was looking at the pink pack, but this will work with all of the packs that I create, because I create them in a very similar way each time, and I package them up in a very similar style. I hope this has been helpful, guys, and let me know in the comments or on my Etsy DMs if you need any additional help with this, or if anything's confusing. Please let me know. I'm always happy to help. If you wouldn't mind leaving a review on my Etsy store if you have purchased this pack and you enjoy it, it helps my store so much. So that would be absolutely fantastic of you, but only if you like it, of course. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I hope you have a good stream. See you later.